Hey everybody, this is Perch, and here's a viewer question, more of a viewer comment, and then we could talk about it a little bit. Hey Perch, for years I always wanted to interact with creators. One of the funniest, best moments of my life was going to a comic convention where I was able to meet a creator, hear some great stories. It was awesome to get to meet the people who drew your favorite characters, and write too. To be fair, there's writers there as well. Uh, anyway, I always wanted these creators to be on social media. Back when I used to use AOL, oh, you're old like me. Okay. Back when I used to use AOL, I used to love the couple of comic creators who would go on and talk with fans. It was great to interact with them without having to go to a convention. I could hear their thoughts and their ideas. However, fast forward to today, and the comic creators that are on social media are often very unpleasant to talk to. They either want endless praise or validation for whatever opinion they're giving, or they block you, chew you out, make fun of you, attack you. I kind of wish we would go back to the days where creators only interacted with fans at cons. I just went to New York City Comic Con a couple months ago, talked to some creators who are absolutely horrible on social media, and they were really pleasant. I left the convention feeling much better about things, and then in the weeks to follow, grew disappointed again as I watched their antics on social media. Do you think having this additional access has been more of a blessing or a curse? And then there's some more here, but I mean, you answered your own question. It's kind of been a curse. I mean, the problem is this, that when you're talking about social media interactions, you're talking about a case where a lot of the creators who are on social media are not there as comic creators. They're not there as ambassadors for comics. When they're at a con, they're aware, that they're there because they're representing whatever comic they're trying to do. They're also trying to make money. And in cases like Artist Alley, they're trying to sell prints. The entire reason they go is to make a profit. If there was no money to be had, the creators wouldn't come. I mean, I don't know, they'd come to fan stuff, but they certainly wouldn't travel all around if you took the money completely out of it. That's reasonable. They need to make money. Everybody needs to make money. It's not just, they go to these cons out of the goodness of their heart and lose money doing it, because when you're at the con at that table, you're generally not working. By the way, as an aside, and I'm honestly curious to the artists that I know watch this channel, why don't more artists actually work on your pages at the con? Is the environment just terrible to do that? Because I know if you had your pages out there and you were actually working on something that was for a comic book 6 months later, that or 2 months later, depending on how when the writer got you the script. Am I right? Anyway, I know a lot of people really appreciate that, but you may get interrupted too much, or there may be a privacy. I don't know if there's a policy where they don't want you working on stuff that's going to get printed in advance in public. I don't know. It's weird to me because a lot of writers will happily tell people coming to the con story ideas from a year out. So they're spoiling stuff. If there's some kind of bias that you can't do it because you can't spoil stuff, the writers are doing it. So why not the artists? Anyway, just a question I have. Uh, but regardless, when the comic creators are at cons, they're very conscious and aware that they're representing either their employment, their work, the comic they're on. I mean, it is something. It is theirs. It is their job. When they're on social media, they may be feeling like they're representing the company. They may be sitting on the toilet. They may be driving down the street. I mean, there's all different kinds of places they could be. You don't know where they're at. And so it's unfair is the wrong word, but it is a different environment. And I think a lot of comic creators who have tried to talk about this on social media, they don't articulate it very well at all. Because they'll say, well, this is my private space. My opinions don't represent the company. Well, yeah, but same thing could be said for a con. But it's a fundamentally different environment. And for a lot of comic creators, for a lot of not just comic creators, people, people don't know how to use social media. Forget the comic creator aspect for a second. Just look at just people on social media. They tend to be assholes. People jump to the conclusions very quickly. They do hot takes designed to kind of hurt and attack people. I mean, there's a lot of lousy behavior on social media. and to by everyone. It tends to bring that out, both the format and everything else. Like I've talked about before, both Twitter and Facebook, quote unquote whistleblowers from inside the company have said that there's a concerted effort. There's an algorithm. There's attempts to get you worked up, because if you're pissed off, you tend to come to the platform more. You give them more clicks. You give them more engagement. That's what they're looking. They're not looking for happy nirvana. They're looking for anger in most cases, and that applies to everyone, comic creators, others. Now, as I've said on other channels, and please, some dumbass will come into the comments going, "Oh, Perch says a comic creator should be able to say whatever they want." No, I mean, yes, I mean people can say whatever they want, but of course it's stupid to do so. I mean, if your goal is to build up, your reputation, your portfolio, your status in comics, and blocking everyone and being a dick is negative to you. You're cutting your own throat by doing that. It's not advised. But of course, it's a free world. You can do whatever you want. No one can force you to do it. I've seen some people in my comments say, like, comic creators should be forced never to block anyone. You can't do that. You can't force somebody to talk to somebody. Is it stupid? Sure. But those are things can be stupid and also legal. It is legal to coming up on the New Year's. I don't know when this video will air, but we're coming up on it. It is legal to shoot fireworks out of your hands, and people do it. And some people also get the living shit burned out of their hands too. And you could be stupid and legal at the same time, regardless. To the original question though, it is kind of a shame, because what's happened is through this, huge access that we all have to people via Twitter and Facebook and everything else, it's abnormal in the sense that we're peeking in on people's lives, and they're not born marketers. They're not people who are trained in how to use social media. You heard in the interview with Sean, like both of us are trying, like, it'd be really great if the marketing people inside DC, Marvel, and the bigger companies did some how to handle social media classes. Like, here's when to know when to walk away. Here's, that people, it would be beneficial to everyone, to the creators, to the customers, to the fans, to everybody, if they would do that. But because you're just seeing a lot of people have no idea really of how to use the platform, and they get on this thing designed to piss people off, and they get pissed off, and then everybody gets pissed off. And the hell of it is that everyone was happier when we had less frequent engagement, and that's sad to think about. It's sad that more access equals more dissatisfaction. You would hope that being able to have a bigger peek into the window would be better. It is true, by and large, with a few rare exceptions. Most interactions at cons are extremely pleasant. They're enjoyable. People have a good time. Generally speaking, that customer to creator interaction is wonderful, and people like it. And sometimes you see creators, and I'm thinking of Jim Zub here, who was when we did the interview with him, and he talked about how enjoyable cons were, that you get to meet people, and just it's a good time. You get to meet those, and that's one of the things the pandemic had kind of taken away, and it was a shame. But it was good. It was good, fun engagement, and that's how a lot of creators think. When they think about their time with customers, with fans, they think about those conventions. When they think about what's going on social media, that's kind of screw around time for everybody. And so I do think that there's a case where there's some creators who go out and they try and be antagonistic. The stuff that went on earlier with Mark Brooks, and I think he and Malin were having a fight, all of that was certainly a fight. That was, I mean, I think, Brooks was saying something like, I was trying to get out and poke the bear to see what would come out of it. I don't know why you would do that. That's a whole other bit, like, why, I'm always confused by people, right or wrong, by the way. They're like, hey, there's a hornet's nest on the ground. I'm going to pick it up and shake it really good. That way you guys can all see how dangerous hornets are. It's like, what are you doing? You leave that thing alone. You don't pick it up and shake it, you dumbass. Why are you doing that? It's very weird. There's something about at Twitter more in particular where creators, not just creators, everybody will say, watch me do this stupid thing. It's like, no, don't do that. Don't Don't be a dumbass. But most people, I think, I don't know most, I think there's a good portion of creators who are genuinely confused by this entire dialogue. And please, if you're on the angry customer side, you're on the fan who believes that, there's been poor treatment and people have been, if you're on that side of this battle, think about this for a moment, just a second. I think that there's a decent amount of creators out there who are genuinely confused by this entire, you're acting toxic on social media, claim that comes out, because they view the comic part of their life as the cons, as those interactions. And they view the social media part of their life as, I don't know, I'm sharing a meme about how orange Trump is or whatever it happens to be. They don't, it's not connected for people. They're not going, they're in their minds, it's I'm off the clock. And you can argue, well, if they're off the clock, then how come they, what is the clock exactly? How are we as customers supposed to know that, at this minute they're promoting their book and they're being big on comics, and at this minute they're going after Trump? Like, what is on the clock, off the clock? There is no off the clock on social media because you're posting this stuff publicly. And that's where I get back to, I think there's just, I think people struggle with how to use social media. And I think they misinterpret what happens to their engagements, how things go. There's I think that a lot of people are often surprised. I know I've talked to creators who see their tweets posted on, bounding into comics, something they're posting, and the creator's like, why is this site posting my tweets? What is there? It's not news. What are they even doing? Like, somebody made a joke about, strong female characters are going to make dude bros mad, and I hearted it. And then there's an article about me hearting this thing. Why is it? Why? Who cares? Why is there an article about this? It's a genuine puzzlement of people, and I think that that's where just like, look, that's the hell of social media. You're always on the clock, even when you think you're not on the clock. You're on the clock, and that's it changes the whole interaction. But to the original point, it's a shame because, I think I would still bet that even right now, most people would claim that, so con interactions are wonderful. Meeting creators, it's great. You have a lot of access and it's cool. And then you turn the page and you get into some of this other stuff, and, it actively drives people away. And it's something that, as an industry, nobody has really come to grasp with. But grasp with. I don't know what I'm saying. Anyway, there you go. Great question. Something to think about. I do hope, please, some of you think about this, because it's very easy to go, oh, these people are rude and terrible and awful people. But in many cases, they are bewildered by the reaction they're getting, and you can say, well, that's naive and stupid, that they should know better. But, it's worth asking. But yeah, they probably should know better, but they don't. So do we want to just bang our heads against the wall on this topic, or figure out a way to solve it? Anyway, thanks for listening.